Charles and Virginia Beetz liked to tinker. They always did.
When I was growing up, my dad showed me how to do a lot of things. I was making everything. I made a go-kart when I was 13. I learned how to weld and built go-karts and stuff. But he always let me use his tools, and then occasionally I'd leave them way out in the yard or someplace, and he'd yell at me about it. But the most important point, he never told me I couldn't use them anymore. And so he's really at the root of my liking to build things.
When Virginia was a student at Pendleton County High School, she played the clarinet. The school needed an official song, so she wrote one. When her alma mater takes the field to this day, her Wildcat fight song thunders across the gridiron. Later in life, she was a math teacher, but the world needed computer science instructors.
With the computer science fields opening up, we took extra courses. I remember taking courses at Oakland University in Michigan to become a computer science teacher in that respect.
The young composer from Falmouth and the go-kart builder from Coleraine High School near Cincinnati met in a math class at Morehead State University. They married in 1968, a year before Virginia earned her Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, and 2 years before Charles received his physics and mathematics degree. Both say their education at MSU was first-rate.
They had a way of teaching which was experiential. They would tell you about stuff, give you challenges to do, homework problems and stuff like, or projects, and then they would let you do it. And if you started to go astray, they would just nudge you a little bit. But it was pretty much hands-off, and you learned from experience, and which served me well in my entire career. Even right today, I'm still doing it. So.
I always wanted to be a teacher, and so I knew Morehead, with their teacher education program, was the place to really do that. And there were some good professors and teachers there that modeled that.
After leaving Morehead, the couple relocated to Lafayette, Indiana, where Charles pursued a PhD in physics at Purdue University.
And my professor at Purdue was just, after I defended my thesis project, and he said, "There's the lab." Okay. So I did that, and I ended up getting the Orr Horowitz Prize in Physics at the end of that, and that got me into General Motors Research Labs.
Virginia's career took a slightly different path.
Now, when we went to Purdue, I couldn't get a teaching job at the time. The market was saturated, evidently, but I worked for the USDA in chemistry. And we did soil sampling across the state of Indiana, which was real interesting. I never got to do that kind of work. And so they'd bring in soil samples, and we'd map the entire state of Indiana according to what type of soil and chemical and analysis and so on.
When Charles landed the job at GM, the Beetzes moved to Michigan. He became a research scientist for the automaker, and she taught at community colleges. Most couples would have been satisfied with that life, but the Beetzes liked to tinker.
I've always wanted to had an adventuresome thing to try to start a company. And so we went to Connecticut. We took a huge cut in pay. We worked for stock options, and Jenny was in the company with me. So it was five of us founders, and then our wives, in an old garage in New Milford, Connecticut. And we started this company, and that was 1988. In 1994, we took it public. We took it public. It trades today. It's called ATMI. It trades on the NASDAQ. It was a company that did material science for the semiconductor industry, and that was my background, materials physics.
Virginia Beetz headed the campaign to take ATMI public, producing videos and other materials to woo investors. It worked. Today, ATMI trades on the NASDAQ and has annual sales of $3 million. In 1995, they started another company, Nano Systems Incorporated, and it also blossomed. That firm used micro-machining technology to make applications in magnetic memory. In 2003, the Beetzes decided to return to Kentucky. They bought a farm in Pendleton County, and Virginia found herself in a familiar place. But this time, it was at the University of Cincinnati.
Back to teaching, and on a 5-year contract for the Ohio College of Applied Science within the University of Cincinnati. And I taught dual enrollment classes. And that was fantastic. I mean, they were getting their calculus credits in high school, and then that just propelled them through UC. So that was really nice to be able to do that. Yeah. And then I retired for the 3rd time, I believe.
But now the Beetzes had a farm, and it had all those acres, and they were both afflicted by that lifelong passion, the urge to tinker.
We didn't want to raise tobacco, we didn't want to raise cattle, so we decided that we would, it had been a fruit farm for a while in the 1800s, so we decided to revive that, and so we chose to start a vineyard. And so we raised grapes, and we started raising grapes and blackberries, and at the beginning it was kind of a hobby, but you know, I get too enthusiastic at times, and so I planted way too many plants, and I was making way too much alcohol, so I had to become a licensed winery.
The couple established the Rose Hill Farm Winery in 2010, but ran into a big problem. Pendleton was a dry county then.
Yeah. So we couldn't sell alcohol at the winery here. We chose instead to raise the grapes. We saw the profit was actually in making the wine, but that meant we had to take it out of the county. We couldn't sell here.
So these math and science wizards reverted to the only thing they knew would get them out of a jam. They tinkered.
So that propelled us into doing events, opening a farmer's market, or a booth at the farmer's market here down in Falmouth, which was a wet spot. In the meantime, the county has voted to go wet. Otherwise, you're a dry spot in a state of wet counties.
Yeah.
And any county along the Ohio River Valley is wet.
Yeah.
But the interior counties tend to stay dry.
The Beetzes remained active in agritourism and the farmers market. In fact, Virginia served as vice president of the market for 11 years. Their wines have won awards throughout Kentucky. Charles and Virginia Beetz have much to be proud of, a great deal to hang their hats on. But you won't hear them boasting about any of their milestone achievements. Well, maybe just one.
It's not just us. I mean, we have two children, son and a daughter, and they both have 2 kids each.
Yeah.
And to see them change and
grow
and do what they do is it's interesting. It's different.
Yeah, we have grandkids here all the time.
Yeah, the 2 sons, or the 2 boys in Wisconsin, are headed to Ireland to compete again in Irish music, and their mother and their father was the one that, started that
on the Suzuki program when they were like 3 and 4.
Yeah, and the other 2, our granddaughter and our grandson, it's just surprising what you hear them say, what they want to be when they grow up.
Yeah.
The couple enters the MSU Hall of Fame with a humility that doesn't always accompany success. A simple acknowledgement that the world's tallest trees are born from the tiniest seeds.
Morehead was the start of it all for me and for Jenny,
I have to say that.
Yeah, and it was the most, like I said, the most important decisions of our life were made right then and there as we were leaving Morehead. And Morehead set the basis for all of this. So that's why we're so grateful to Morehead, and why we're really happy to be given this honor to become members of the Hall of Fame there.
There probably should be a Hall of Fame for people who tinker, but there isn't. Charles and Virginia Beetz will just have to settle for inclusion in the Morehead State University Alumni Hall of Fame.